Hello and welcome. When we look back at human history, it's easy to focus on the wars and the struggles. But what about the absolute high points? The moments when everything just seemed to click? Well, today we're taking a journey through humanity's golden ages. Those incredible periods of peace, prosperity, and just explosive creativity.
So that's the big question we're tackling, right? What really were humanity's greatest moments? When did we, as a species, truly shine?
Because it seems like every great civilization has one. A peak. A time when it felt like anything was possible. When art, science, philosophy, and culture all just ignite at the exact same time, creating this incredible legacy that echoes for centuries.
And that's what we call a golden age. But it's not just about being rich or having a powerful army. A true golden age is marked by peace, by prosperity, and this explosion of cultural and intellectual achievement. It's a time when the human spirit really gets to flourish.
Okay, so our first stop is a big one. This is a period that laid the foundation for so much of the world we live in today. The Greek Classical Age, the very birth of Western thought. Just look at the Parthenon. Wow. This incredible building says it all, doesn't it? It's a symbol of the confidence, the brilliance of classical Athens. From about 500 to 336 BCE, Greek culture was at its absolute zenith.
But this amazing era didn't just pop up out of nowhere. As you can see from this timeline, it came after centuries and centuries of development. It even followed a mysterious, dark age where writing itself was apparently forgotten. So this was a slow, hard-won recovery that eventually led to an unbelievable cultural boom. And you know what's really amazing? The people living through it knew they were building something special. This quote from the Athenian leader Pericles is just dripping with confidence. He absolutely knew they were creating a legacy that people would be talking about for thousands of years.
So what was their secret? Well, it was like a chain reaction of brilliant ideas. They invented democracy, this radical concept of rule by the people. That wasn't just politics, it encouraged public debate, critical thinking. And that environment directly fueled guys like Plato to invent new ways of thinking we call philosophy. At the same time, they created theater to explore these huge human questions in front of thousands. It was an age where one incredible idea just kept feeding the next.
All right, now let's jump forward in time and across the globe to a completely different part of the world for our next example, the Islamic Golden Age. This was a period defined by an absolutely insatiable thirst for knowledge. This image just captures the spirit of the time perfectly, doesn't it? We're looking at scholars in a library in Baghdad. For centuries, this city, the capital of the Abbasid Caliphate, was the undisputed center of the world for science, philosophy, and medicine.
And here's the crucial thing. This wasn't an accident. The leadership, the Abbasid dynasty, who ruled from 750 all the way to 1258, they actively encouraged learning. They were patrons. They poured money into scholarship, art, and science, creating an environment where the brightest minds could thrive across their entire massive empire.
And that desire for learning, it came right from the thinkers themselves. Just take this quote from Alhazen, one of the greatest scientists of the age. His mission was simple, but so powerful. I constantly sought knowledge and truth. That was the engine driving an entire civilization forward. And this relentless search for truth led to unbelievable breakthroughs. First, a massive translation movement brought all the old Greek and Persian knowledge into Arabic, saving it for humanity. But they didn't just copy it, they built on it. Thinkers like Alhazen pioneered the scientific method. Mathematicians basically invented algebra. Astronomers were mapping the stars with brand new tools, and doctors wrote medical encyclopedias that were the standard for centuries. They were forging entirely new fields of study.
For our final example, we're heading to East Asia to check out China's Tang Dynasty. This was just a spectacular golden age of art, invention, and a truly cosmopolitan culture.
This beautiful little statue of a dancer gives you a real sense of the elegance and artistry of the time. From 618 to 907 CE, the Tang dynasty managed to unify China after a long time of division, and that ushered in this incredible era of stability, creativity, and prosperity.
So, what was the secret sauce here? Well, the Tang emperors were huge fans of the arts, sponsoring artists and poets, and the earlier invention of paper meant that ideas and literature could spread like wildfire. On top of that, massive engineering projects like the Grand Canal supercharged the economy, while the famous Silk Road turned China into this vibrant, cosmopolitan hub that was totally open to the world.
And the result of all this peace and progress was just staggering.
In the following Song dynasty, which kind of continued this prosperous streak, the population of China doubled to over 100 million people. A number like that is a powerful testament to just how successful and stable this period was.
So, we've visited three very different, very distinct peaks in human history. Let's pull back for a second and see what they all have in common, and what legacy they left behind.
When you break it down, it almost looks like there's a formula for a golden age. While each one was unique, they all shared these key ingredients: peace and stability, a strong economy, an exchange of ideas with other cultures, and powerful patrons willing to invest in creativity. And the results? They speak for themselves.
Of course, no golden age lasts forever. They all eventually faded, whether from wars, or instability, or just internal decay. But their impact, that's permanent. The ideas, the art, the scientific discoveries born in these brief shining moments are still echoing through history, and they have fundamentally shaped the world that you and I live in today.
And that brings us to one final, really thought-provoking question. When future historians look back on our time, on the 21st century, what will they see? What will they point to as our peak achievements? What, if anything, will be our golden age?